Oh, he just. Wait, there's the other people on Zoom. What?
All right, so here we go. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people on Zoom. So we've got in this class people who are able to attend live. Good. Be here as much as you can. Don't try to disappear. You have those who that probably get me in trouble or something. Yeah, well, I cause a lot of trouble. I'm here, they have to tolerate me. There's a really good film called The Watchmen. If you've never seen it, there's one scene in it that you really, really need to see. And what it was is it was the only scene that was on my mind during the entirety of COVID. There's a scene where one of the main characters gets thrown into prison. All people he's put into prison. And very quickly everyone goes for that person's life. After he murders someone right there in front of everybody, he's like, you need to realize something. You're locked in here with me, not the other way around. It's like, yeah, well, some give and take. We'll talk about that kind of stuff too. So in terms of things going on, there's a few things we need to talk about. We'll run through the Blackboard stuff. We'll run through what we're going to go through in this class, syllabus, all that jazz. We'll also talk about attendance and that kind of format kind of stuff, involvement in the programs in general, life skills, life goals, those kinds of things. We'll start working on some of that across many different things. I pace a lot. I'm kind of anxious, I guess. In terms of attendance, be here as much as you can. If you can't be here, be online, be live. If you can't do that, I record it, I post it up into Blackboard, attend that way, right? You lose social connections. That sucks, right? It really does. So be here as much as you can because live is, well, it's like electricity. Or like music is a good another way to look at it. You can hear it while it's playing, but whenever as soon as it stops, it's gone, right? It's not like artwork all the time. The big thing with this is this class, what you'll learn, like I said, structure system a little bit, mainly law, how that kind of stuff works, the languages, the elements, how they kind of stack together, and how you can see how things fit. As we're doing that, I'll pull up real world stuff that's going on right now and show you where there's problems, because problems are abound in this field. This is the field of problem. That's kind of what this system does, is if there are problems, it ends up right here. So you have to figure out how to deal with problems, right? Because we're the ones who go in and have to. And so we'll get into that kind of stuff. Other classes, you'll get different skill sets. Probably the big one is if you're in it, great. If you're not, or if you already have the skill set and you're interested, that kind of thing. Research methods. What time? Back over here. Yeah, that's at 11. That's the one where we're going to be working on getting you guys actually into data and doing research stuff. See what kind of opportunities come there. But we'll see what we can do in the process. Be here as much as you can because the ties that you make today will matter tomorrow. Right now, if you think about it, you're in a classroom with however many people, and all of you have intentions to go at least to some field that's somewhat adjacent to this, where you're going to pull on this information, right? Which means that in 5 to 10 years' time, hey, I know you, right? That's what you'll do. It's like you'll go and you'll have a conversation, you can go off into something like, I actually know some people over here, and you'll just be happy to snatch that kind of thing. That can be both good and bad, so yeah, make sure you're well behaved, that kind of thing. Let's see, what else do we need to talk about? Blackboard stuff, I'll probably try to get everything into it pretty quickly. I'm moving real busy this semester. Since I had classes Monday, be here office 2 hours. Tuesday, be here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm off in Texas doing stuff for you guys. It's like I'm gonna talk more about that later. Let's see what else is going on. I don't know. Let's get off to the races, I suppose. Haven't had anybody else pop in. Sure, there's nothing else coming. Everybody's right here. Good. All right, so I've got a little note in here about fall. Yeah, welcome to class. Here's a little bit what the class will entail. A lot of my classes I kind of reformatted a little bit. I used to like to get you to have a few different test points in your classes. That way, if you're not a particularly good test taker, you'll balance out. I cut it down to where it's just a, I'm not actually, I need to screen share that. That's going to be kind of important. Right here. Share. Sure. Actually, I should probably share this one so I can move it over and you guys actually see it. Otherwise, the people online will see it. There we go. All right, now I can't see it. That's excellent. All right. So, this year, what I'm gonna do, across the number of my classes, midterm and final. We'll play with the format for this one, because there's a lot of content to go through. Sometimes usually what I'll do is I might give you like, one, you'll have quizzes for, not quite weekly, I've got them in the schedule kind of thing. What that will do is those will be based off the kind of chapter-ish materials that we'll go through. I don't have a book in here, we'll talk about that in a second. And as you're going through that, you'll, quizzes, you'll pick up the information you need for the test. It's gonna draw up the same kind of information, same data pools, that kind of stuff. So you'll get it. Usually what I do is if I have quizzes, I'll set those unlimited for attempts. And so that way, I just keep taking it, whatever your highest grade gets, what you get. But if you take enough times, you know what all the questions are, so you have all the answers. You just have to put the legwork in if you want it. That's just like this thing right here. All the answers are right there. You just have to put the legwork in and do it. And so 2 exams, 10 quizzes, and 10, 8, 10, something like that. It's gonna be around there for most of my classes, because what I'm gonna use those for is, if attendance starts to drop off, or I start to, people are kind of unplugging a little bit. All right, we're doing this one in the classroom. And if you're online, that kind of thing will happen is as you're listening to the video, you have to stop and write it out in a dang email and send it to me. Good luck with that. Make sure you send it to me multiple times. Oh, good golly. Don't get me started on email. We'll talk about that when we get to contact stuff and syllabus. Eccentricities. There's a lot of them. Let's see here. Let's see anything over there. Assignments 4. I've gone back and forth on a term paper in here. We'll talk about that one next time. If you guys really want to, we'll try to process it. I'll guess put it to that kind of thing. If it fails, then it's like, okay, if you want to do that, basically it won't be attached to class points. We'll see what you want to do. There's nothing attached to it. It's always interesting to me. Usually I start out my classes with a quick discussion about the value of work and the value of education, and I realize it's the same thing. The only difference is work they pay you, education you pay us. That's kind of a weird pyramid scheme right there. I don't know how they got that one to everyone to buy into that one, but I guess it works. I mean, it's good. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. 4 assignments. What I'll probably do there is we'll probably focus on different areas within the criminal law. But we'll play with that a little bit. I think that's how it's set up at current time. Sometimes I build those so they scaffold them together and build something bigger. I don't think I did that here. I think those are just 4 subject matter assignments. Of course, attendance participation, that means be here and talk. And if you can't be here, watch. And if you can't talk during those things, I guess you could talk during those things. I just want you to know. Send me an email, that kind of a thing, right? So start the conversation if you got questions that come up, because there will be questions that come up. Questions will vary a little bit on classes and frequency in terms of frequency, of course, content. Probably ones where you'll have the most questions when we go over the methods, because that's going to be something we're going to start seeing how things move a little bit differently over there. Let's see what else I'm talking about. Course learning objectives, we have some. I see I understand a lot and identify. Don't get me started on Bloom's taxonomy, that's a different. All right, so part 1 is available. Syllabus and schedule is available. That's what we should talk about. Notice I said part and not chapter. It's because I'm cheap and I'm lazy. I've done criminal law classes before. Actually, before I came here, I did this. Talked about a few times and I got tired of just, okay, this book presents it this way, this book presents it this way. Okay, here's some of the basic information those textbooks will show you if you take a criminal law class. But what I'm actually gonna have you do is what they were having you do here already. And that's, if you want a book, you can go buy the actual statutory, like the book of statutes. I've got one of those. It's a great big paperweight. It's really heavy. It's really nice to have, because if you want something tangible, something real to read, it's nice. It's outdated every year, right? Every single year, because there's no new stuff, changes, new things pass, things sunset, all kinds of stuff. And so you got that going on. Best thing is though, it's right here again with everything else. You just hop over to the legislative website, and once you learn how to navigate that, you're off to the races. You can see what's actually there, the different versions of it. If you're really paying attention, you can see what the legislators are actively doing in each session. So that way, you know what's kind of consequence, what's going on, if you really want to plug in. But that's all going to be related to your personal aspirations, where it is you want to go, what it is you want to do with life. So be thinking about that one all the time. And with that, part 1's open. Syllabus and schedule. Cool. All right. Is there anything else down in here? Meet your faculty. There's some crap about me here. I'm catfishing. That picture's real old. I'm not as bad as some people. I'm not a major offender. Some of those, it's like, that person still has hair, it's a different color. Or they still have hair, and the hair they have is a different color. That name's different, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
I love everybody here. Let's see, where was that over here again? Okay, netiquette, you know that, don't be rude when technology needs. You guys have computer stuff. If you have any issues with that, let me know. Because every now and then that kind of stuff happens. It's like, I'll talk about that real quick. So it's just good advice for you moving forward. Keep things in 3 places if you're working on things, whether it's an assignment, a discussion, post. Don't write it in this thing, write it in Word, save it. And then whenever you're done, you submit everything like, okay, you got it on your computer, it's in that Blackboard thing. Go ahead and drop it into like your email. Just open up an email it to yourself, or drop it off your Google Drive, because hey, then you got 3 copies of it. That thing goes down, or for some reason that thing fails, or both of those things happen. Guess what? You're not screwed. That becomes more consequential as you get older, because the things you're going to be doing are going to be more involved and have more time attached to it. But if you do that now, you'll save yourself a lot of time. I can tell you horror stories. My worst one I ever had was a friend of mine who was in his last 2 years of his dissertation, and his computer fried. Yeah, so he lost a year's worth of data. I said last 2 years. He was in his last year, became his last year. It's like, yeah, it's like, you don't see a grown man cry. That'll definitely do it. Yeah, it's like, I feel it. I think I'm not crying. Oh, that's rough. That's like the amount of investment there. Some people will go crazy. He didn't do that. I was thankful about that. Some of those people are dangerous. You got to watch out for someone who's backing them. Just crazy. I don't want to tell you these. I can tell you a whole bunch of stories. I probably shouldn't, but I will. Since we said meet your faculty, I've got a wide range of experience. I'm all over the place. I have a lot of fun. I don't really care what you know. You're never supposed to come here after and I don't really care about that. I'm just gonna teach you stuff. Whenever I started out about your age. Whenever I actually started working at the university I was at. Wide range of different offices. My favorite one though was probably academic affairs when we first started there. We're about a year out from one of the reaccreditation visits. And so the first task they put me on was, here's 10 years worth of student faculty complaints issues, put it into a database, put a structure to it, because you've got a whole group of people are going to want to know what's been going on here related to issues for the last 10 years. Ooh, that was fun. It's like, one, you got to figure out, it's like, okay, what kinds of issues do we deal with? Two, what kinds of information do you need to report? 3, hell is actually going on, right? That last one's really important one. It's like, yeah, that kind of a thing. And so we have to deal with that across a number of different areas in this field. Methods, it's on the math side to some degree. It's more logic than it is anything. Don't be afraid of that. It's not that hard. The computers do it for you. Here, it's law stuff. That one is complex. Each of these things is its own body of literature. And whenever I say that, it's like, I really don't know what to say there. Okay, if I said any one element that we'll talk about across any one crime that we'll touch in here, it's like you're gonna have all the statutes that have been passed related to it. You're also gonna have this whole thing related to case law, where anything that's actually gone through the system that touches that thing has an opportunity to change it. And so if you're not well read in all the things that have happened related to it, it might be something different than what it is. And that'd be like me talking to you about the birds and the bees and fish in California. I don't know what the hell is going on there. And I mean that quite literally. Watch this. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I think it's bees. I can't remember. Bees are spell fish in California. In September, California Supreme Court left in place the court decision on that bees are fish. Bees are fish. Like I said, some of the stuff doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't necessarily have to be built into things that actually do make sense, right? It's built into its own self-governing system. And so people play some there's a word I use here. I'll use the word chicanery. I usually use a different word there. It sounds like chicanery, but it has an F word in it. Because that's usually what we start running with here. It's like, okay, what kind of field are you going off into? Whenever I say field, what kind of weeds are you going off into? It's going to be very, very obscure, very, very fast. That kind of thing. Okay. I still love that. Bees are fish. It's like, good God. And if you're not careful, you end up with a place where it's like You know, Supreme Court justices can't say what men and women are, but that's gonna be a political thing that people don't like to point out. It's like, there's a very easy way to identify. It's like you identify what the major general trend is, and it's like, with some caveats, because people are really all over the place. Oh, now you can't even say it. Okay, that's gonna be a problem if we have someone who's gonna make judgments about what's true, what's accurate, what's fact, and fiction. But that's a different rant for a different day. Okay, I don't need that thing up. So birds, bees, fish, all that good stuff. Back over here. Guess I can see that one kind of. Where is my mouse? Yeah, it's to the right. Okay, cool. Back over here. So technical help, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Let's start here. Syllabus. Here we go. Bing, we'll open that up. Well, that's thinking about that. We'll go ahead and go say announcements. You should have gotten that email at 3 this morning. I went to bed at 5 this morning. Zoom information's down here. There's your little link if you need it. And that should be that won't change throughout this semester. That link will be stable across all the classes. If for some reason you miss a class and like you click into it whenever there's not an actual class in session, yeah, it will pop on and it will kind of log you in as having done that, but it won't make any difference whatsoever. So don't worry about it. Just make sure you don't do that, because those, since it's set for class, are set to record automatically. So that's kind of a dangerous thing. Don't turn on your computers and have it record automatically if you're not paying attention. I'm just going to say that. I would make a whole bunch of jokes about some stuff that Joe Rogan brought up. If you listen to Netflix's most recent special. Anyone watch Joe Rogan? No. Okay, good. Funny comedian. That one we'll get into when we start talking about sex crimes. And we'll talk about is COVID and the computer and the cameras, that kind of thing. It's like, oh, good golly, think about all the opportunities there, and think about how many people in the very public sphere got caught doing something that's technically criminal because they exposed everybody else to it. Good grief. These things are nasty. We'll have some very dangerous discussions. We should probably talk like that. If you can't tell already, it's like I'll have a conversation. That is very, very dangerous because these are sensitive topics. These are real things that really happen and very, very traumatic. And so you have to kind of give it its weight as to do it. It's respect. Respect. Yeah, probably is the right word for it, because respect's earned. It's not decency. At the same time, it's like we need to have those conversations. Kind of give you an idea for just how nasty they get. It's like, okay, stop and think about again, sex-based crimes, and think about the arguments that are made for people there. It's like, okay, so someone's going to eventually make that argument that the person was asking for, that kind of a thing. It's like, yeah, somebody's going to make that argument, so get ready for it, that kind of thing. And so we'll have to have that conversation. It won't be a fun one, but we will have it. Let's see, beyond that. One is available, and I need to up that it. Yeah, completely unreadable. All right, let's move over here. All right, here is the class. And hopefully I did this right, because they send out a new template every year, so I move everything over, but then I look back at it, it's like the template didn't really change over the last year. So I did all that for nothing. So you got your information here, you already know all that. Your information's here, you got an email address, phone number, cell phone. So all that all is there so that way you can get a hold of me. I'm not easy to get a hold of. Emails, I try to go for 24 hours. That seldom happens. Sometimes you get like an immediate response that just pops up when I'm right there and I have an opportunity to actually answer it. That's not common. Usually what happens is maybe 2 days. If it's been 2 days you haven't heard from me, forward me that thing again, because I'm not going to see it again for a long while if you don't. Right, so you got to make sure you get in front of me. That sucks. I hate that. It really does. Make sure you get in front of me. That's going to be the hardest thing. Because I'm just buzzing like that. That's why office phone's there. Yeah, and you can call that. You leave me a message, voicemail there. What it'll do is it'll send me an email with your voicemail. Then you can send me another email. Yay. Cell phone number's there. Yeah. Now what'll happen is after that, like second, maybe third email, or depending on what it is, if you got like real words going on. That's my cell phone number. Everybody gets that. It's actually at the bottom of all my emails I send. Feel free to send me a text, because I probably won't answer if you just call, because I don't know anybody's number and I really don't like phones. So, but I will watch it, and if I've got it around and haven't lost, I've got 5 kids, and they would steal it sometimes. Stuff disappears. So I might not be immediately accessible there either. And so, but if you need something, do that. Send me a text. You can call if you want to, that kind of thing. But if you do that, leave a voicemail that way, because I'll actually get it on my phone. And what'll happen is I'll listen to it. And if it's not like, again, 3 in the morning, I'll get a call. Unless you're on the other side of the planet, I might call you right then. That's been fun. There've been a couple instances where that's been opportunities. Yeah, I'll do that. Fine. The hell not, I'm already up, right? Okay, so office, I'm upstairs 321. That's gonna be that stairwell up that way. Turn left kind of thing. Keep looking at that here, over here. Office hours. I'm here basically from 9 until 2 today. I'll be here a little bit afterwards. Office hours today, 12 noon. Basically, it's the only time I don't have class at that point in time. So feel free to pop in about that at that time frame. If you need anything, because I should be around the office. If I'm not there, probably one of the adjacent offices. So just start shouting. And if I'm not there, what'll happen is I'll probably get notified that someone's creating a Starbucks there and yelling about me, and I'll be like, okay, that's me, I did that. And then so we'll have another conversation. I'm just kidding. And so if you really want to get a hold of me, it's like, at that time, of course, you have all those other formats. Tuesdays is when I have most of my office hours. So I'll be here from 9 until 3, unless I'm late, really 10 to 4. That's kind of more of a notice for you. It's like, I'm not here at 9, you should talk about, hey, you're on time. Okay, other times by appointment. Cool. Okay, delivery. Basically, I just listed everything. I put a whole bunch of crap in there, so that way when we say look even more complex. Oh, somebody else is. Where is that at? Heard it over here. All right, excellent. All right, so delivery methods. You can be here in the classroom. You can be here but be online. Or you can not be here at all and then pretend like you're here. Yes, okay. Workload, credit hour statement. Oh yeah, that's something that's always kind of interesting. Ideally, it's like whenever you take credits, there's some type of math involved, the number of credit hours, the work that's supposed to be involved in it, the number of hours you dedicate to the class outside of the class itself. That's this thing. Yeah, I don't want to go on a rant about it. I'm not going to. Class days, 9 to 10. Yeah, be here or don't. Just make sure you're watching. Okay, prerequisites, none. Descriptions, basically what you're doing is substantive criminal law. So substantive and procedural law are the two types of law that you really deal with on criminal. Basically, anytime you deal with law, those are the two sides that you deal with. You have criminal and civil in terms of systems. Then you have the substantive and procedural for criminal. The substantive is your statutory laws when you get the statutes. Procedural is like how it actually functions. We'll talk a little bit about both across both courses because you have some general frameworks. So if you had one of those other classes, you've already had procedures. It's like, yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit. It won't be nearly as much. Just like in procedures, we talk a little bit about criminal law. It's like, yeah, this kind of general idea of how it works. We'll talk about it over there, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind. We'll talk about all that kind of stuff. Yes, sources, classifications, that kind of thing. From there, purpose, it's a requirement. Yes, you must take it. It's also really good to know because, like I said, if you're going to be ever involved in the system, whether you're professionally or personally involved in it, it's literally the system you use to crush people sometimes. Sometimes people deserve it, right? Kind of the good way to look at this anytime you look at this system is anytime you look at this system, no matter what everyone talks about in terms of fair treatment, that kind of stuff. No, every time you enter the system, it's just you. It's just you against the entire government. That's what it is, right? That's if you're on that side. Now, if you're trying to pull out the truth, great. You're trying to prove your innocence. It's like, that's probably not going to work so well, right? Don't do stuff that's wrong. Realize that we can make it look to where you're doing something wrong, even if you're not. That'll be a different conversation. Yeah, so it's a really dangerous thing. A lot of power. So here's what you're expected to know. Understand history of common law, developments of law here, movement towards statutory definitions for all crimes. Identify sources of law, definitions, how it differs from civil, elements of a crime, classifications, affirmative defenses, inchoate, incompleted crimes, and then culpability. Who is responsible for what? Who's liable for what? Who actually did what? In the sticky realm of people, it's like Nothing's independent of everything else. No person is an island unto themselves, pillar unto themselves. It's like, yeah, no one stands alone. We all either stand together. We don't stand at all. Yeah. Kind of understand where society's right now, right? I'm feeling like snarky today, I guess. It's because I didn't get much. This is how I slept over the summer. That's what I've been doing. Really nice. That'll taper off and you'll see Warner broke down me in a couple weeks. Yeah. All right. So instructional method strategies. We'll talk about stuff in class. You will have things to read. All that stuff's online. This is not a required textbook. There's no image available. It's got listed here. It's like 21, 22 is when we first started this class here. Last time I updated those slides and stuff up there. But anything newer is fine, because what we'll do is we'll end up going over to the legislative website and I'll show you how to navigate that. That'll be your first assignment, actually. So I'm going to give you that kind of, go out and find this and tell me what these things are so we can start navigating it. Let's see, what else? That book is really expensive too, because it is, printed in blood. Where is this thing here? Instructional materials, other stuff will be made available from time to time. Grading policy, there's 500 points right here, right? So, to some degree, it's a points race. I don't care about points. I care about content. I care about how much you take with you. I care about growth more than that too. It's like, that's a different thing. So, to some degree, play the points game, but realize the points game is really, we do that as some way have a way to see that you're doing that growth thing. That's what we want, the growth thing. I don't really care one bit about the grades. I don't care one bit about GPAs. It's just at some point, those things actually do matter. People will start to judge you by it. So it's like, okay, well, we'll take care of that to some degree in terms of, I'm not gonna make it easier, but make sure you know some stuff. Okay. Let's see here. Late makeup work, no. Of course, but no. I mean, it's like that. Don't ever come into the thing looking at the, okay, if I'm late, what do I do? Yeah, no, it's not good. Nice. We're all adults here. I'm not your parent. I'm not going to govern you. It's like if you got a reason that you missed class, you missed something, or you're late on something, just let me know. If you don't, let me know that too. It's like I might take it, I might not, but it'll be one of those things. It's like you're probably doing one of these. It's like, yeah, it's probably not good. What kind of mood is this guy in? Ooh, probably not a good. That's a different conversation too. Let's see. So be here. If you can't be here, everything's online. Got any questions? Ask. That's the important one. Let's see. You miss opportunities for understanding. Communication's key. It's actually a really difficult thing. If you've had me on the classes, first day of class, sometimes I'll talk about communications triangle. If any of you have taken some communications class, what is it? Logos, pathos, whatever the hell. It's a triangle. I send a message. The message is at the top and to you. That message goes to you, and I have to have some way for you to kind of communicate back to me and make sure it's like, yeah, you actually got what I was trying to send you. Because it's like, oh my goodness, all those times that people send, underlying messages or say things that are snarky. It's like the Southern blessing, bless your heart. It's like, oh my goodness, did you just curse that person? Actually, no, I was being nice, but that person is kind of an asshole. It's like, okay, maybe I didn't use it that way too. That kind of thing, right? So be mindful of that. There's communications policy here that kind of talks a little bit about that too. Don't use caps, don't shout. There's policies here. Student support. Ooh, I should probably talk a little bit about that before we get rolling. If you haven't done this already, you should do this soon, today. Go look through your student handbook and just look through the table of contents there so you have an idea of what kinds of things that you agreed to, what kinds of things you held to. Sort of like the syllabus thing. It's to some degree, it's notice of what's in the class. To some degree, it's contractual agreement, right? And so if there are things that change, it's like, hey, be aware that those things change. Even over on that side, those things change. And if you're not paying attention, it's like, be careful. It's like saying, like I said about smoking a pipe in class, 30 years ago, it's like you could literally be up in your office and smoke a pipe, but you don't care. Today, it's definitely not like that at all. And the level of scrutiny that you all will have moving forward is going to be even greater. So it's like, you have to watch that one. Be careful with that. Be familiar with what you're being asked to be familiar with what you're being told, I guess, is the way the admin's kind of looking at it. No, maybe they don't look at it that way. Maybe it's one of the things that you agree to abide by, because it's just kind of standard. But just be aware that stuff's there. It's sort of like saying, it's like your actions outside of the classroom, how much they can be brought right back into the classroom. It's like, what the heck is that? I don't like that so much, but also I do like some scrutiny there. So it's like, welcome to the world of criminal justice, for things that are gonna move in different directions, gonna be sewn up together at the same time, and you gotta figure out how to navigate it. Good luck, because it's a difficult thing. Concerns, complaints, that kind of a thing. There's a process here. It's actually pretty interesting. I've not been involved in anyone's here. My last university, for a number of years, actually organized those. It runs basically like a trial. Basically, I mean, essentially what it is they'll bring, if you ever have an issue, whether it's bank members had an issue, students had an issue, whatever. Basically what it is once you run through the process of actually talking with someone, you have the informal and formal processes. Usually try to work those both at the same time. If you're gonna go meet with somebody, take the form with you, kind of things. That way you don't have to go back and meet with them again. Particularly if you made the decision you're gonna move forward, because that means those things kind of gotten hostile. So now you're meeting with someone who you already met with, who already made a decision. It's not going with what that person wants. So it gets really nasty sometimes, and just avoid all that stuff. Take that thing with you. Not to say that you'll ever need that. I've never had one of those. But it is good to know that that process exists, and know who you have to meet with, where to find the information should you ever need it, because sometimes that happens. Like I said, I organize complaints. It's like the ones that make your skin crawl. There are those. That'd be like a favorite one of mine was this one actually happened while I was there. This was the one that I found, the logbook kind of thing. It was a graduate level engineering class comes over. The entire I think it's like 10 people in the class, because graduate classes are kind of small. Every single person failed the class. Wait a second. Every person failed the class? Who failed whom, right? At that point in time, it's like, yeah, you got some serious problems here. Whenever you walk in a situation like that, it's like, okay, what exactly is going on? And it was exactly like what was the professors did teach job and hold them accountable. Like, yeah, no, you can't do that. Hey, so be familiar with that process there. Also, read this thing like a book, this syllabus. I know if you do, and I know if you don't. If you've read them before, you know how I know this, right? So make sure you do that. I ask something of you, and then I just wait to see who actually reads it. And it's like, I got a reader here. I can do something with that. Okay. All right, moving down, grade appeal process there, calendar with assignment dates. Here's where I put it here. It's like there are times you have to read ahead, complete an assignment quiz. Welcome to the real world. You have to know more than what you actually say to be able to say it. That's a big thing, actually. Kind of a thing that I want you to keep in mind as you move into life. It's sort of that thing I mentioned a second ago in criminal justice, where it's like that thing where you're dealing with multiple things at once and things that can directly conflict with each other, and you gotta figure out how to move forward. That's that thing right back here. Right here. If you're navigating the real world, if you're gonna have to try to get understand something. How many of you ever play poker? I don't play poker, but any times that I ever did, and if I ever won, it's like I'm a jerk. I do one of these. Mine, right? And right. So you gotta put your hands around things. So you have to know a lot more than what you're actually doing to be able to do that. You have to attack things from more than one side at once. And so we'll do that here and in a number of different areas in the classes. So we'll start out with just kind of introduction stuff this week. I probably start out real slow. Well, I do. I always start out real slow. It's the basic kind of tenets, the basic contradictions you start looking at across these things. You start building in here. And so we'll spend probably more time on this. So we'll get off schedule. But what will end up happening is as the semester rolls on, probably somewhere towards the end of October to that, crunch between that and Thanksgiving's whenever we'll pick up a little bit of speed. You'll notice we'll go through the classes a little bit faster because it'll seem more like we're reading directions rather than having to go through breakouts. Like, okay, this is how it all works. You'll already know that and you see, okay, new topic. Here are the changes. And so it'll become more of a structured kind of thing you're looking at. Let's see, what else do I need to talk to you about? It's 9:30. I don't know. What kinds of questions do you guys have before I go off into something else? Okay. How many of you know what you want to do when you finish? Okay. How many of you are actively thinking about it? Okay. How many of you have written down a list? Yeah, start there. All right, and so that's one of the things I want you guys to start thinking about, whether it's this field, a different field, anything else, just that kind of stuff. Not today, probably next class. What I'll do is we're not gonna have time to do this today because we've got like 10 minutes left and there's 2 people. We'll spend some time kind of talking about, want to get to know you. That way, kind of put names to faces. I'm working on that a little bit, but I'm horrible with that. I can remember names, I can remember faces, they don't meet. And so we'll work on that a little bit. I'll get an idea for what kinds of things you want out of the program, kinds of things where you want to go, because that's your guiding line. And is anyone here a CJ major? Anyone not a CJ major? Sometimes we have to do with us. Okay, yeah, cool. And if you're not a CJ major, we'll talk. You don't necessarily have to be a CJ major. What will happen is whatever field that you're in, what that's going to offer is a different framework for which to understand this kind of stuff. If you were in like theory last semester, I kind of talked that a little bit. One of the things you'll commonly see is you start to gain some control over different areas. Common labs, overlaps, and understanding are different frameworks that people use. They'll put to it. And ours is quite literal. They'll literally jump over and be like, okay, we're going to use biology over here for this thing right here. We're going to use this one's going to be social networks, communication people are going to move over here, and that kind of thing, public health, that kind of stuff. And so all kinds of stuff to play with. Beyond that, I'll talk about this thing right here. So SWAC-J conference, Fort Worth. I've got a few minutes, I'll rant for a little bit. So that's a regional criminal justice organization. If you had me last semester, you kind of have a little bit of idea of what was going on with that organization. Basically, that's 6 states worth of researchers, professionals, that kind of stuff. Went to it last year, ended up getting on one of its positions on its board. Had some issues with that. So, this is some bad actors, let's put it that way. That one is something that if you're in methods, I'm declaring war. If you're in methods class, what we're going to try to do is see how many people want to do projects. I'll see what kind of resources I can rally up. All of us can rally up for you all to see how many people can get together so present. Basically, what happened there was I'm a treasury person, so you got me monitoring numbers. The people who were running it didn't want to provide any of those numbers at all. Ooh, that's kind of shady for a nonprofit. Yeah, things went downhill from there. We don't have time for that because what will happen is what'll happen here is you'll get here, probably here, definitely here. I feel like they did this one. But I'm ranting. But no, we'll talk a little bit about kind of stuff too in some devices. In here, we'll talk a little bit about just kind of how things progress. And one of the things that's interesting here it's law and it's kind of logic to some degree. Its structure is going to be embedded into these lessons. Methods, it's sort of like the overall, here's how to put a method to something. Here's how to put a structure to something. Next class is policing. You guys know policing, that's the first contact between government and people, right? So that's pretty important too. Let's see, what else is there? Evidence. So evidence, how that's different from, so we've got criminal law, that's this one. Procedures was last semester, so that's usually a spring kind of thing. And then evidence is another one. We'll talk about that really quick because you might find some interesting overlap there. So that has to do with how evidence is handled, of course. But that's going to be things like, where did I want to talk about it here? Okay. Procedures. We talked about high-profile case, Rittenhouse, procedural violations there, right? Your Brady rule was violated. Here, it's like you talk about that same thing when you start talking about crimes against persons, and that kind of stuff, homicide, because that's where you end up. Over in the evidentiary side, you wouldn't just talk about the Brady violations. You'd go, and I kind of did this a little bit in procedures, a little bit. It's interesting stuff. I'd be like, okay, so here are the videos from the drone footage that were received by the defense. If you look at them, you will see that the resolution here is this. When you look at what was presented in court, you will see that this is the same footage. Yes, the resolution has changed. This is a different file. This is something different entirely, meaning that somebody at some point took that video and did something to it that changed it, meaning it is no longer the same evidence. You got falsification of evidence if someone did that on purpose, right? Right. It's like now you're into something else. So that's kind of stuff you deal with over there. Let's see, 5 minutes left. Any questions? You guys have a fun class? Feel like you learned some stuff for a first day and just going through the syllabus? Yes? Yeah. Things will get a little bit wild. If you think I'm ramped up now, wait till things get pressure. But until I get pressure, I'm actually moving slow. Yeah. We're gonna have some fun. This class, probably my favorite lesson in this class is one of the early ones. It'll be whenever we start getting elements of crime. Because once you see how it works, I'm gonna show you some stuff that you'll never forget, and it'll echo in a number of lessons here, in a number of different places. And so once you see that, you'll start moving. Cool. All right, well, I think I've stolen enough of your time for today, because usually I try to let you out of here early. I'm not really doing that too much, but I guess 4 minutes counts, right? All right, well, you guys have fun. I'm gonna go finish this coffee and go get some more, because I've obviously not had enough. Have a good one. See you next class.
So are you just dropping that class or are you gonna
There.
see it?
I guess I can fill it out for a day.
Listen, yeah.